All right, we're live and it's Wednesday's Real Talk on Real Estate. And today we're talking about new construction, the housing market, and building a duplex. Is it better and more advantageous to build a duplex than it is to build a single family home is the big question. And so one of the big things that I like about duplexes, I'm going to go through over the course of this video. For those of you guys who joined us in Las Vegas, Nevada, you guys know that we are after the 5-year business plan right now. And that 5-year business plan starts today. And so one of the things that I talked about was how you monetize your time in regards to the next 5 years and how you actually strategically set yourself up for success. In your first year, 1 house, second year, 2 houses, third year, a duplex. Now, you could start off on year 1. You could start off in your first year on year 2. You could start off in your first year on year 3. Depends on your ambition level, how much you pay attention, how much you invest in yourself. And the biggest thing right now is knowing the difference of what you should be investing in. Now, a duplex is good to invest in. I'll give you multiple reasons why. The first reason is because you can still get a single family residential construction loan on a duplex. Or if you buy a duplex, you can get a single family dwelling. You can get a single family residential loan buying an already built duplex all the way up to 4 units, all the way up to a quad, up to 4 units is a residential loan. Now, if you take occupancy of one of those units called an owner occupancy, and it's even easier. A lot of times you can even use it as a first-time home buyers program. If you've never owned a house, there's incentives for service workers. If you're a firefighter, police officer, nurse, first responders, all of those people, there's typically federal and state level funding for financial institutions that allow you to get into some of these mortgages for less money. Okay, so you guys that are on the front line as our first responders or our service workers, you need to check into that. They even do that for educators and teachers and so forth and so on. Now, here's why I like duplex, especially if you're in the inner city. In the inner city, in dense areas, duplexes are awesome because, one, you get more bang for your buck out of your land. And if you can go in and you can build dense and you can put a duplex on a lot where typically you'd only be able to put a single family home, then obviously you're going to make a little bit more money. Now, let me give you multiple reasons and that you'll make more money and how you're going to make more money. I'm going to give you three tips on how you're going to make more money before we get to the end of this video. Now, you don't necessarily have to just build duplexes in dense areas. There's duplexes in semi-rural areas as well. It just so happens that there's a lot more of them in really dense and congested inner city areas because there's not as much land and there's a lot of infill requirements. Now, if those of you guys in states like California where they're really promoting ADUs, which ADUs is an additional dwelling unit, which means you have a house and you add an additional dwelling unit on that land. Now, they're adding full single-family dwellings. They're not just like mother-in-law's quarters that are 850 square feet anymore, which is like the national average for what's allowed per acre on an ADU, an additional dwelling unit for a mother-in-law's quarters, typically about 850 square feet, give or take, nationwide. But because like the state of California has implemented a code now where you can go in and build an additional dwelling unit on your property and you could build a full home. So you could take one single family lot and build an additional entire home on that property, which is way cool because it allows homeowners to double the density as far as what the living abilities are on larger lots and even smaller lots. But when you build a duplex, here's where you land up making the biggest variance in profitability. So I'm going to take, for example, a 3,000 square foot single family home. Okay. Now let's take a duplex that is actually maybe 1,500 square foot single family dwellings that are both 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom houses or duplexes. And you have a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house that's a 3,000 square feet. Now, when you go in and you build that single family dwelling, you're going to pay on average nationwide of about $150 per square foot to build that single family dwelling. If you build a deep duplex, if you look at the average price nationwide to build a duplex, it's about $130 per square foot. So that's a $20,000 per square foot variance. So if you just multiply that times 3,000 square feet and you attack that $20 a square foot times 3,000, that's $60,000 of additional revenue to your bottom line on a per square foot basis. Now, when you go in and you build inner city, here's what's cool, is that typically inner city dwellings are typically more expensive by the square foot than they are in a semi-rural or rural area. So for sake of example, if you build in a semi-rural area, your price per square foot might be someplace in the neighborhood of like $290 a square foot. So if you take that same 3,000 square feet times 290 or less, slightly less, that's $870,000. Okay, now, if you go in and you build that, take that same 3,000 square feet, and let's say that your square footage, your price per square foot is $210 a square foot in the inner city, which is very likely, times 3,000. Not only does it cost you less, but that's $930,000 build cost. So you end up having a variance. That's what I say, 290 times 3,000 is 870. So you end up having an additional $50,000 in profitability just on the square footage price, and then another $60,000 on the price to build. So that is potentially an additional $110,000 in net profitability doing a duplex as opposed to doing one single family home, which is awesome. Because even if those numbers are skewed a little bit and you only make an additional $80,000 a square foot, it's still great, right? You're making $80,000 more with the exact same amount of effort, because when you do a duplex, you build them at the same time as if though you were building one single family home. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you like this content, you want more content, insight, and information just like this, pound and subscribe to our YouTube channel and smash that thumbs up button. Now, look, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things in this current market that's going to press every U.S. American in the median income range and in the median home buying range, which is those homes under $400,000, is going to be interest rates. And since interest rates are pressing individuals right now more so than they have in over 2 decades, right now is a good time to also explore the opportunity of doing duplexes. Now, I always tell people, in our single family residential model, you should always build homes between 1,700 square feet and 2,700 square feet. Why? Because that's what's actually needed in the vast majority of the U.S. demographics. Between 1,700 square feet and 2,700 square feet is needed, not wanted. It's needed. Once you exceed that 2,700 square foot range, it becomes more of a desirable item, and it's more of what people want, not need. And so it's a luxury item. It's considered to be luxury to have over 2,700 square feet. And in times of market compression, the average median home buyer is willing to compromise what they desire to have for what they need in order to live, because that fits their budget. And when that fits their budget, that's what's going to hit the vast majority of the continental United States. And so we want to make sure that we stay within that cusp, within that threshold. The other thing that I always make mention to people is that if you're building single family residential dwellings, stay over $500,000, because that's where the profitability is, and under $1 million. If you stay between that $500,000 sector, the sweet spot I love being just over 700,000 square feet, because you're going to make a strong 6-figure return on every single dwelling. Now, if you live in an area that is not pressing the upper median and you can't even get $500,000 to $1 million, that's where you start considering duplexes, because your profitability is there, the price per square foot is there, the price and cost to build goes down, and so ultimately you land up with the same profitability per square foot as you would if you built one home. Okay, and so the reason I tell you this is because not only do you land up just as profitable, in more times than not, you actually land up more profitable. Now, the caveat to that is that you have to have 2 customers, 2 clients, and build and deal with 2 different transactions. The good news is that if half of it sells and the other half sits on the market for 30, 60 days, you still received revenue, and that revenue protects you. And so I always say there is mass value in creating density and in numbers. And so the larger the quantity, the larger the return, the bigger the safety net, because you have more opportunity to sell additional dwelling units as opposed to sitting on one home. Okay. So if you go down to like Kirkland, Washington, where we're building out a small community up there, we have single family homes that range from 1,500 square foot and slightly larger. And anytime that we go in and we start building these, we try to build them in volume, because if we build multiples of them, our price per square foot goes down from $130 a square foot, sometimes even as low as $123, $122 a square foot. Now, on average, it's about $130 a square foot. Okay, so don't let me mislead you in the fact that it can get much less than that, because it's not going to get much less than that. In fact, that's going to be about your threshold for build cost in a duplex model. And I will tell you, if you're building a nice semi-custom home, it's going to cost you about $150 a square foot on average nationwide. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I like duplexes because you can get single-family residential loans on them. You can sell them off individually. You don't have to sell them off in multiples. But if you do decide to sell them up in multiples, a lot of times, especially on vintage products, it's more advantageous to do a value add where you go and renovate a duplex or a quad, a fourplex, and then sell it off altogether, because then your price per door sometimes is larger than it is by price per square foot if you sold them off individually. So you got to see which is the most valuable. What I like about duplexes and quads is that you can evaluate it based on market conditions. You're not stuck to like one business model. You can sell them off as like a multifamily establishment where it's in multiples, to a duplex or a quad, or you can sell them off as one dwelling, right? As one purchase. And so you have options, and you can comp them two different ways. You can comp them based on rental income, and so based on cash produced revenue, and then sell it off on a basis of a cap rate. And if you do that, sometimes it may outweigh the price per square foot if you sold them off as single dwellings. And so you have to evaluate your market. And so what I always tell people, before you commit to either one, get them leased up for the maximum amount return on investment on the single family residential lease agreements, because the more you rent them for, the larger the net operating income is going to be, because you have more on your bottom line. And the more you have on your bottom line is going to increase your net operating income. Your net operating income directly affects your cap rate, and your cap rate, the more revenue it brings in on your cap rate, the more you bring in on your cap rate, the more the cash on cash return is, the more the banks like it. Now, the lower the cap rate, the higher the price is. The higher the cap rate, the lower the price is as far as the value of that asset. So you want to be extremely strategic, because in this market where interest rates are high, you want to be careful against high cap rates and high interest rates, because the value lands up dropping. That's where you may land up wanting to sell off like single family dwellings, where you can go in and evaluate the comps, the market comps, price per square foot in those areas, and sell your condos or your duplexes or your quads off by the price per square foot, because the price per square foot may bear you a better comp and a better return on investment than the cash flow model, when cap rates and interest rates like they are today are so high, the values diminish. Now, when cap rates stabilize and interest rate stabilizes in the near future, if you hold that asset, the resale component as far as price per square foot and the actual appraised value will go up exponentially as interest rates and cap rates start to compress and go down again. So ladies and gentlemen, I love duplexes. If you haven't heard this information before, then go back, rewind, rewatch, and then post the comment hashtag repeat in the comment section below. Ladies and gentlemen, God bless you guys. You guys go out, make it a great day, and let's start on this 5-year business model today. You guys go out, make it a great day, keep crushing it, and go out and compound your success. Yes, Jerry, living space, under air and heated area. You guys go out and crush it.